Around the world, there are landscapes so unusual they seem to belong to a different planet entirely. Here are the 15 weirdest rock formations and geological wonders that forgot the rules of the Earth. Lena Pillars, the stone guardians of Siberia. Hidden along the icy banks of the Lena River in Siberia, there's a place that looks like it stepped straight out of a fantasy novel. Massive stone columns rise vertically from the earth like ancient guardians frozen in time. These are the Lena Pillars, one of the most remote yet spellbinding geological wonders on the planet. Formed from a mix of limestone, dolomite, and shale, these pillars are thought to be more than 540 million years old, dating all the way back to the early Cambrian period when primitive life was just beginning to emerge in Earth's oceans. Over countless millennia, the combined forces of wind, frost, and glacial meltwater carved the rock into towering columns that now stand between 100 and 300 meters high. In winter, the area transforms into a frozen cathedral, with snow softening every edge and the pale Arctic light painting the stones in subtle blues and silvers. In summer, especially under the northern lights, the same stones shimmer in gold and amber hues. White Desert, Egypt's ghostly sculpture park. Imagine driving through the scorching deserts of Egypt and suddenly coming upon a world blanketed not in sand, but in white stone. Welcome to the White Desert, located about 500 kilometers southwest of Cairo. This landscape is nothing short of surreal, filled with chalk-white rock formations shaped like mushrooms, rabbits, and even towering heads of cauliflower. How did this bizarre terrain come to be? Millions of years ago, this region was covered by a shallow sea. As the waters receded and the climate grew more arid, wind and sand became the artist of the desert. They slowly carved the soft limestone left behind into the shapes that still stand today. By day, the stones glow a stark white under the sun, but it's at sunset and by moonlight that the desert truly becomes magical. Ha Long Bay, Vietnam's floating limestone masterpiece. If there were a watercolor painting that came to life, it would be Ha Long Bay. Nestled in northeastern Vietnam, this bay is home to more than 1,600 limestone islands and islets, each rising majestically from emerald green waters. Some look like dragons, others like turtles, sails, or even slumbering giants, each one a product of nature's whim. Formed over 280 million years ago, the bay's karst topography is the result of tectonic shifts and relentless erosion. Rain, wind, and seawater work together for millions of years, hollowing out caves, lagoons, and cliffs into shapes so dramatic they look sculpted on purpose. Alula, the stone kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In the deserts of northwestern Saudi Arabia lies a landscape that seems plucked from a fantasy movie. Alula is a land of colossal sandstone cliffs, natural arches, and towering pillars, all carved by time and elements over more than 500 million years. Among its most famous features is Elephant Rock, a massive stone formation shaped uncannily like an elephant bowing its head under the sky. Alula isn't just about natural wonders, it's also the heartland of the ancient Nabatean kingdom, the same civilization that built Petra in Jordan. The region is scattered with tombs carved directly into cliffs, inscriptions, and remnants of long-forgotten trade routes. Walking through this timeless place is like flipping through the pages of a living history book. Today, Alula is rising as a cultural and ecotourism destination, blending history, heritage, and natural beauty in one unforgettable setting. It's the rare kind of place where every rock whispers stories that are both ancient and astonishingly vivid. Druids Altar, mystery in the hills of Yorkshire. Set high in the rolling green hills of West Yorkshire, the Druids Altar is a curious cluster of massive sandstone blocks that appear carefully stacked like a ceremonial table. The site is wrapped in legend. Local lore once held that ancient Celtic Druids used it for rituals and sacrifices. Though there's no hard archaeological proof, the stones inspire that kind of wonder. Geologists tell a different, though no less fascinating story. These formations are part of the Millstone Grit series, laid down around 300 million years ago when the region was a vast coastal plain. Erosion, frost, and time gradually shaped the rock into its current form, a natural altar that seems almost purpose-built. It's not just the structure, but the setting that captures the imagination. The view from the stones stretches over the lush air valley below, and sitting atop them feels like stepping out of time itself. White Pocket, a swirling desert dreamscape. In Arizona's Vermilion Cliffs National Monument lies a hidden marvel that many travelers miss, White Pocket. This place looks less like a geological site and more like a painting gone wild. Swirls of red, white, pink, and orange stone twist and fold across the ground, forming patterns so intricate they seem digitally rendered. White Pocket is made of Navajo sandstone, formed about 190 million years ago when vast sand dunes covered the region. Geological forces compressed and twisted the sand, turning it to stone. Wind and water then exposed the psychedelic patterns we see today. Unlike its famous neighbor, the Wave, White Pocket doesn't require a permit, but it is incredibly remote. Only four-wheel drive vehicles can navigate the sandy trails. The reward? A nearly crowd-free experience that feels like discovering a new planet, one ripple of stone at a time. Mono Lake, California's otherworldly water world. On the edge of California's high desert lies Mono Lake, a bizarre and beautiful body of water that's anything but ordinary. This salt lake is known for its strange limestone towers, called tufa, rising eerily from the water like ancient ruins. Formed about 760,000 years ago after a massive volcanic eruption, Mono Lake has no outlet. Water only leaves through evaporation, making the lake's salinity 3 times higher than the ocean's. When underwater springs rich in calcium mix with the carbonate-rich lake water, they form solid limestone deposits that build up into towering tufa. In the 20th century, when water was diverted from the lake to supply Los Angeles, the water level dropped dramatically, revealing these hidden formations. Despite the extreme conditions, Mono Lake supports a thriving ecosystem, including millions of migratory birds, brine shrimp, and alkali flies. It's proof that even the strangest environments can be teeming with life. Bryce Canyon, the Red Rock Cathedral. Bryce Canyon in Utah looks like a cathedral built by giants, or maybe nature itself. This isn't a canyon in the traditional sense, but rather a series of natural amphitheaters filled with thousands of spindly stone spires known as hoodoos. Formed from layers of sandstone and mudstone deposited 30 to 60 million years ago, the hoodoos were shaped not by rivers, but by an unusual weather process called freeze-thaw erosion. Water seeps into cracks, freezes, and expands, breaking the rock apart gradually. With more than 200 freeze-thaw cycles a year, nature has plenty of chances to chisel her masterpiece. At sunrise, the spires glow in brilliant oranges, reds, and pinks. In winter, snow caps the stones in white, creating a visual contrast that's simply breathtaking. Brimom Rocks, nature's playground in Yorkshire. Wander into North Yorkshire and stumble upon a place that feels like a stone-themed fantasy park, Brimom Rocks. Here, massive rock formations twist, lean, and balance in ways that seem to laugh in the face of physics. Some look like dancing figures, others like whales or giant hands reaching out of the earth. Each formation appears sculpted, but not by human hands. These extraordinary shapes were formed from millstone grit sandstone laid down by ancient rivers over 320 million years ago. Over time, natural forces like wind, water, and ice weathered the stone, wearing away the softer material and leaving behind these bizarre and imaginative forms. Centuries ago, locals believed that witches or druids had carved the rocks, and it's not hard to see why. They look so purposeful, so deliberate, that it's difficult to believe they're naturally made. Today, the site is protected and attracts rock climbers, photographers, hikers, and curious wanderers. Wahp Hoodus, stone mushrooms in the desert. Deep in Utah's vast dry wilderness, something strange emerges from the dust. a field of tall white stone mushrooms capped with flat brown tops. These are the Wahp Hoodus, and they look like they belong on another planet rather than Earth. Their smooth, slender bases and perfectly balanced tops create a surreal scene that feels completely detached from the usual desert landscape. The story of how they formed stretches back to the Jurassic period, roughly 160 million years ago. The Hoodus began as part of the Morrison Formation, a layer of sediment deposited by ancient rivers and floodplains. The soft sandstone eroded over time while the harder rock caps resisted the elements, leaving behind these striking formations. Their color is part of the wonder too. Unlike the deep reds and oranges of Bryce Canyon's Hoodus, the Wahp Hoodus are almost ghostly white, glowing softly under the desert sun. The journey to reach them isn't easy. It's a rugged hike of over 8 kilometers, but those who make the trek are rewarded with silence, solitude, and an alien-like landscape that seems suspended in time. Goblin Valley, Utah's stone creatures. Ever wondered what it would look like if goblins rose from the earth and froze mid-motion? That's the eerie charm of Goblin Valley. Found in a remote part of southern Utah, this bizarre landscape is filled with hundreds of rounded stone figures that resemble little creatures standing under the open desert sky. The formations are made from Entrada sandstone, laid down over 170 million years ago when the region was once a shallow inland sea and coastal plain. Through time, wind, water, and slightly acidic rain wore away at the soft rock, leaving behind stubby Hoodus with rounded shapes and flat caps. There's something playful and strange about this place. No two goblins are alike. Each one has its own expression and posture, like a natural sculpture garden with a sense of humor. It's even been used as a filming location for the sci-fi comedy Galaxy Quest, which makes sense the moment you step into this alien-looking arena. And unlike many parks, visitors here are encouraged to explore freely, climb, wander, and meet the goblins face to face. 3 Sisters, the legendary pillars of Australia. High above the majestic Jameson Valley in Australia's Blue Mountains, 3 towering sandstone formations rise dramatically from the cliff's edge. Known as the 3 Sisters, these stone spires are not just a natural spectacle. They're the embodiment of an ancient legend and a story of transformation. According to the indigenous Gundungura people, the 3 Sisters were once human. 3 sisters turned to stone by a powerful tribal elder to protect them during a time of conflict. The elder was tragically killed before he could reverse the spell, and the sisters remain as stone to this day. Geologically, the formations are part of the Blue Mountains' vast sandstone plateau, dating back about 200 million years. Erosion from wind, rain, and rivers carved the surrounding cliffs, leaving these 3 striking pillars standing alone. Each of the sisters rises between 300 and 900 meters above sea level, and visitors can see them up close from Echo Point or glide by them via the Skyway cable car. They remain one of Australia's most iconic natural landmarks, a powerful blend of geology and mythology. Bentonite Hills, Utah's rainbow earthwaves, hidden near Capitol Reef. National Park in Utah lies a psychedelic stretch of land known as the Bentonite Hills. Picture waves of rolling earth painted in lavender, red, pink, and gray-blue like a dream frozen in clay. There are no paved roads leading directly to them and no signs pointing the way. Yet for those who find them, the sight is unforgettable. These hills are made of bentonite clay, a substance formed from volcanic ash deposits that settled over 150 to 200 million years ago. What makes them unique is their texture and color. Bentonite absorbs water rapidly and then dries into crackled wave-like patterns that ripple across the landscape. The rich colors come from the minerals locked within the ash, each hue a chemical signature of time. Because they're off the beaten path, the hills remain relatively untouched. At sunrise or after a rainstorm, the colors glow even brighter, making it feel like walking through the palette of an ancient painter. It's the kind of place that barely looks real, even when you're standing right in the middle of it. Unlike many famous landscapes in Utah, Bentonite Hills offers no visitor center, no guidepost, just raw, unfiltered terrain as far as the eye can see. The hills rise and fall gently, their slopes smooth and velvety from a distance but textured with fine cracks and veins up close, like baked porcelain. Al-Nasla Rock, the perfectly split stone in the Saudi desert. In the golden dunes of Taima, Saudi Arabia, stands a rock that defies easy explanation. Al-Nasla Rock is a large granite boulder split perfectly down the middle by a thin, clean, vertical crack, as if cut by a laser. Even more strangely, both halves balance neatly on small stone pedestals. How did this happen? Some geologists believe it's the result of natural fault lines combined with erosion. Over time, wind and sand may have eroded the rock along an existing fracture, creating the sharp divide. Others speculate it may have been caused by temperature fluctuations, expanding and contracting the stone until it finally split. What deepens the mystery is the presence of ancient petroglyphs on the rock's surface. These markings are believed to be over 3,000 years old, linked to the ancient Thamudic people. Whether the split came before or after the carvings remains a puzzle, but there's no denying its allure. Visitors from around the world come to marvel at what appears to be nature's most precise accident. From a distance, it seems like an ordinary rock formation, but step closer, and the precision of the split becomes almost unsettling. The crack is so narrow and straight that many first-time viewers assume it's man-made, perhaps the result of ancient tools or forgotten technology. Despite the boulder's imposing weight and scale, each half remains perfectly upright, delicately balanced on its base with no visible support between them. It's this balance, this improbable steadiness, that leaves both scientists and casual travelers baffled. The surrounding desert offers little clue, just endless sands and searing heat that only add to the surreal feeling. Some theorists have even proposed seismic activity or subtle ground movement as contributors, though no one theory has been universally accepted. What's just as compelling are the Thamudic inscriptions, some carved with symbols, others depicting animals or figures lost to history. These petroglyphs suggest the site held spiritual or cultural importance long before modern interest began. Split Apple Rock, a giant slice of legend in New Zealand. Rising out of the clear waters of Tasman Bay in New Zealand is a rock that looks like it's been cut in two by a giant invisible knife. This is Split Apple Rock, a near-perfect sphere of granite cracked cleanly down the middle, resembling, you guessed it, a sliced apple. Geologists explain the phenomenon as the result of freeze-thaw weathering. Water entered a natural crack in the rock and during colder temperatures froze and expanded. Over time, the pressure split the rock apart. It's slow-motion artistry carried out over thousands of years. But the local Maori have another story. According to legend, two gods were fighting over the rock and split it in half during their quarrel, leaving the result as a warning or perhaps a gift. Located close to shore, the rock is best viewed by kayak, especially during low tide. It's not just a scenic stop, it's a symbol of both nature's quiet persistence and the myths that help us make sense of the wonders around us. Visitors often describe a surreal sense of symmetry when they first lay eyes on it, almost too perfect to be natural. The clean split is so precise that it seems engineered, making it one of the most photographed natural features in New Zealand. At sunrise, golden light catches the granite's curves, casting long shadows that emphasize the deep cleft between the halves. As the tide rises and falls, the water level dances around the base, making the rock appear to float or rest gently on the sea. The journey through these 15 strange and extraordinary rock formations reveals more than just the marvels of erosion, sediment, and time. Each formation, whether shaped by wind, water, frost, or even volcanic ash, tells a unique story. Some speak in the language of myth, like the Three Sisters or Split Apple Rock. Others, like the Lena Pillars or Bryce Canyon, are like ancient archives of Earth's geological history. And still, in each place, there's a shared feeling: awe, silence. That moment when one stands before something so improbable, so unusual, that words briefly fall away. These rocks are more than formations, they are nature's slow poetry, etched across the ages. What strange secrets might still lie hidden in the world's most remote landscapes? And how many of them are waiting to be uncovered, just like these wonders? If this journey through Earth's weirdest and most wonderful rock formations amazed you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. More breathtaking discoveries await. Stay curious, and see you in the next adventure.